example 8 asks us to solve the following equations. So we have A is the absolute value of x minus 6 equals 7. The key with absolute value equations is this. If we look at, just as right here, the absolute value of this quantity equals 7. Well, we know that the absolute value of 7 equals 7, but also the absolute value of negative 7 equals 7. Because any absolute value has to be a positive answer, because we're looking at a magnitude without a direction. So what we do with these types of problems is we separate them, okay? We say, all right, well, this directly means that x minus 6 could equal 7, or x minus 6 could equal negative 7 from that previous example. So from this point, we have deconstructed this and turned it into very simple equations for us to solve. If we solve from here, we get x is going to be 13. And if we solve from here, x is going to be negative 1. Either of these numbers would give us an absolute value that equaled 7, because we would either get 13 minus 6, which would make 7, and its absolute value is 7, or we get negative 7, whose absolute value is 7. B is a little more complex, and I'm going to write this on the next page. So it has the absolute value of x squared minus 2x minus 25 equals 10. So like in our previous example where we had two equations, this one works as well, because we know that, again, the absolute value of 10 equals 10, and the absolute value of negative 10 equals 10. So what we can say here is that x squared minus 2x minus 25 equals 10, or x squared minus 2x minus 25 equals negative 10. Again, we've deconstructed this where we've gotten rid of the absolute value part. We have accounted for that. So now what we have to do is solve these in the way that we know how to solve them. Well, if you notice, these are both quadratic equations, so I need to deal with them in a way that I can deal with quadratics. So I can think of the quadratic formula, factoring, completing the square, whatever it is that you decide to do, just make sure you do it appropriately. Well, I'm going to solve these using factoring. So what I need to do first is I need to get 0 on this side. So I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides over here. So I'm going to get x squared minus 2x minus a 35 equals 0. And here I'm going to get x squared minus 2x, and I'm adding 10, would be minus 15 equals 0. If you were to do the quadratic formula or factor, you'll get the same answer, just if you do them correctly. I'm going to factor. This would be x minus 7 times x plus 5 equals 0. This side would get x I'm going to get x minus 5 times x plus 3 equals 0. And so my options now, I have x minus 7 can equal 0, or x plus 5 can equal 0, or x minus 5 can equal 0, or x plus 3 can equal 0. And so I'm going to get x equaling the following options. I can have 7, comes from here. Negative 5 would work. 5 would work. And negative 3. Now, the beauty part of this is that any of these answers at all will give us either 10 or negative 10 inside our absolute value, which will make this work. So quadratics normally have 2 solutions, but because it's an absolute value of a quadratic, we now have 4 potential solutions that could happen.